Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. I am doing a little bit of a voiceover again for today's video. You can kind of see in these clips here, the wind has been so intense lately. Over the past few days, we've had severe weather warning after severe weather warning, and being outside has been a little challenging. I have not been going down the back of the property where all of the big gum trees are. Taking warm cups of tea, putting my hoodie on. Here I'm saying how windy it is, but I really just had to cut the sound because it was just way too windy to record with my microphone. But I thought I would just do another voiceover of a little kind of garden with me. You seem to really enjoy the last time I did one of these, so I thought I would do another one. I have this area of the garden that I've been meaning to work on for quite a while. I have a lot of chamomile that is going to seed, a lot of straw flowers or everlasting daisies that need to come out, and it just really needs like a good tidy up and a good clean. So that is what I'm going to do today, and kind of prepare some of the planter boxes that I have in this area and plant them with some more plants. I had to include this little clip here because this is one of my favorite things, is having all of the little violas and pansies just pop up in the cracks of the pathways. So pretty. But the first job is to harvest all of the straw flowers or everlasting daisies. I've heard people call it kind of the same thing. They're really papery flowers and I absolutely love growing them. I have been harvesting so many from the garden that they kind of like grew too fast for me to keep up with. This is a clip of when I would like to harvest them, that orange one in the middle, or when they're a little bit closed, rather than when they start to look brown in the middle like this one here, and obviously the other ones where they're actually fully gone to seed and you can see the seeds in there. They're all nice and fluffy and ready to be saved. So I'm harvesting a lot of these, the flowers that have fully opened and have seeds in them. I am going to save those seeds at a later date. I just needed to get in this afternoon and take all of these out of the garden. You can see a lot of the straw flowers were just flopping over. They weren't actually like upright anymore. They were creating a mess and, you know, still flowering. Like, they are a very prolific plant in terms of its flowers. But they can be a little bit messy if you don't kind of prop them up or have some netting around them, or pinch them back when they first start growing. Otherwise, they'll just do this, what mine did, and it's kind of just a little bit of a waste of space. So I'm firstly just prioritizing removing these. This is how I like to start. I like to do the biggest job at the start to clear everything out so that I can know what I have to work with and just start with like a blank space to know what I can plant. I'm also just removing a few weeds and plants that had just kind of had their day. There's a few poppies that it's not really the season for poppies anymore, so I'm taking them out. And this is just a few daffodils that I had planted this year, so they're not really that established, but next year they will come back. So I'm just curling up the leaves. I do sometimes braid these, but these were just a little bit fiddly to braid. So I'm just keeping these on the surface, and these will break down over time, just because you don't want to snip off any greenery from your bulbs to ensure that all of the energy can go back down into the bulb so that it will produce next year. And then in these little boxes I had planted ranunculus and lots of little violas that were kind of finished for the season, but there are so many seeds that have floated around the garden and planted themselves. So I think I'm going to have a lot of self-sown violas in this space, which is perfectly okay with me. Because I do kind of use this as like my little fairy garden area. I want it to be kind of magical and whimsical and a little bit wild and a little bit overgrown, but still kind of look put together, if you know what I mean. So I'm moving the boxes a little bit further up to the pathway so that I can have a bit more of a layered effect and plant some smaller things in front of them. and then plant the boxes that I'll plant later in the video. I am also giving a really good prune on the, this is Canary Island lavender, I think it's called. It's like a hybrid lavender. It's not a true lavender, but it still kind of looks like a lavender. You can really harshly prune these and they will be perfectly fine. They have more of a woody base, so that's what I did there. Just give them a really good prune and they'll come back. I just wanted this area to be nice and neat before we head off on our trip. That's why I was giving them such a harsh prune. And then just doing a little bit more weeding. I will come back and pick all of these chamomile flowers to use in tea later on. But yeah, now I wanted to just focus on these boxes. They do have some grape hyacinth bulbs in them, I believe, so they might come back next year, which will be exciting. I'm adding a lot of worm castings in here. There was a lot of worms in the worm castings, I can see that. You can either pop those back into the worm farm, or if you have a good amount of population of worms in your worm farm, you can simply just put them around your garden, in any compost piles that you have, or any kind of areas where you have debris that you're breaking down. Adding handfuls of worms is a great kind of passive way to improve your soil. It's not going to happen overnight, but increasing worm populations in areas that you might think you're starting a garden bed in future, or you've just newly made a garden bed, can make a really big difference to your soil. So I'll show you an area down the back where I do this, but for now I'm planting some pincushion flowers in these boxes. So these are, I think they're also called scabiosa flowers. Yeah, I'm probably planting these way too close, I realize that, but I want them to be nice and tight and really fill up these boxes to produce some gorgeous flowers. I don't think these were the tall variety. If they are, I've definitely planted them too close. But there is a tall variety that you can use for flower farming and flower arrangements. I think they grow up to about 90 centimeters, but I think usually they grow to about kind of 40 centimeters tall, some of the shorter varieties. So fingers crossed that's what these are, but we'll learn together as they grow. I think these are going to look really pretty once they grow up and I can put more plants in front of them. And also I have something special that I will film in another vlog of something that I am adding behind them. Keep an eye out for that because it's going to be very magical and very fairy-like. I'm so excited. But for now, I'm also just planting some tomatoes behind them because I have a lot of tomato seedlings. And this is my style of gardening. If there's space, I have seedlings, they're going in the ground. So I'm planting these behind them and they will fill in the background space for now before I can plant something in there coming into autumn and winter. This is my dump area down the back. I know you've all got one. This is where I'm doing like a really lazy hugel culture method where I'm just chopping up every now and again bits and things from the garden, and I'm kind of following the same methods that Sean from Edible Acres does. He has an amazing permaculture channel. I would highly recommend checking out his videos. But I'm going to just let a lot of this break down over time and keep adding materials and then cap it with a layer of compost or mulch, and add lots of worms in this area, and this will all become garden beds one day. So it might look a little unsightly to some. I'm totally not faced with it because I know that nature is just doing her thing, and I think it'll look amazing in the future when I can kind of cap it all with mulch and it'll all break down over time. Speaking of mulch, I have still a large little pile out the front of the house that was very windy and it was kind of hard to shovel this without getting mulch in my eyes, but I was pretty careful, and I'm just adding a little bit of mulch around the tomatoes and the flowers. This is to ensure I know where they are, so I can see the tomatoes, I know where to water them, and also I think it looks nice and it's just going to help build soil over time. So this was a little bit of what my afternoon looked like on this day out in the garden. I have so much more I want to add to this garden. So I think there'll be maybe another 1 or 2 vlogs of some more garden work in this area. So keep an eye out for that. I hope you've been enjoying all of these vlogs. I have been so productive in the garden. I feel like they've really made me be a little bit more productive, which is awesome. But thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a like and thumbs up if you want to see more garden vlogs or garden with me videos. And yeah, I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are in the world, and until my next one, happy gardening everyone. Bye.